Welcome to Water's Edge, the game with a catch. This 2 to 4 player game invites players aged 10 or older to visit Water's Edge, a tiny town tucked away on the edge of the seas. Hello, welcome to this video. My plan today is to talk you through how to play my brand new card game Water's Edge. This was developed in 2019 and launched on Kickstarter, and now that it's out in the world, I thought it might be helpful for those who are always daunted by the what looks like long instructions, which honestly aren't that bad once you get into them, but sometimes it's easier for people to learn through videos. So hopefully this is helpful and it will encourage you to take a trip to Water's Edge. So as we unpack the box, you have our Welcome to Water's Edge quick play guide. So this is a very brief introduction to the game with a wee bit to read there, but as this is a video, we will talk you through this. You've got your instructions to refer to. These go into further detail. It does, as I said, look daunting with both sides, but it's not that bad. A lot of it from here downwards is all to do with the different cards and their actions and what you might need to do with those. So in the box we also have our quick guides. So this is a wee card explaining the fishing process. Oh, sorry, it's a bit reflective, and the fish capacities as well. So that will make sense as we go on through the bit of video. There's also a quick reference on scoring, because the object of the game is to gain as many points as you can, and to get those you score from your fish and your buildings and your boats as well. So that will keep you right onto what tactics you might want to do, what points you want to aim for. So you can keep one of those per player and set that aside too. The other two unusual cards in the box, we have our timekeeping cards. So one is consisting of a weekly card. So we've got Monday, turn into Tuesday, turn into Wednesday, turn into Thursday, and then over we've got Friday, and for 2 players would also play with Saturday and Sunday as well. Alongside our day of the week card, we also have the time card. So this is our day, and on the back we have our night card. So this also turns along the way. So you would start with Monday and you play around on Monday morning, turn Monday noon, everyone takes a turn Monday afternoon, on to Monday evening, staying on Monday, they have one night turn and second night. Then we turn to Tuesday, this gets reset and you go through the cycle again. So Tuesday morning, Tuesday noon, Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, onto the night 1, night 2, so on and so forth. So place the time cards with player 1, they will take their turn. Next player will take their turn. After that, back to first player, then they would turn on to Monday noon, so that would be your second turn, and it goes round again. When you play Water's Edge, everyone receives base cards. These are black backed instead of your normal ones, which are white. Everyone receives one of each card, so we want one lighthouse base, and that gets laid out in front of you. Your ice house goes just next to it, and your colour of boat, and I think I'll go for orange. It's one of my favourite colours. So orange boat then goes next to it, and this is going to be the sea area here. So normally each player would have this set up in front of them. Because it's just me today talking you through, you'll just have to imagine the other players. So in order to set up the game, you want to empty your pack of cards. Now it's quite a big deck because there's lots of beautiful artwork in here, full of all sorts of cards which all have a story. So make sure they're shuffled well. The first time out the box they're sometimes prone to sticking together, so do shuffle them well. Then you want your pack in the middle of your play there. We'll maybe set it to the side so you can see what I'm doing. Each player starts with 3 cards. This is my hand that I start with. If you happen to have a storm or rotten fish, those are the 2 cards that are instant action. So as soon as you draw them from the pile, you have to play them. If you have them, or if you're starting with them in your hand, then you just put them into the discard pile and draw another one, so you're back up to 3. So they don't count on the first go. We're nice to you on the first go. Okay, so the aim of Water's Edge is to gain as many points as possible. In order to do this, you want to be catching fish in your boat. Your fish would then move to the ice house to gain extra points, then from the ice house into the town, and that will get even more points for your fish. You can also gain points from your lighthouse as it builds and grows, and you get points for the boats as well. On your turn, you draw a card from the deck, add that to your hand, and then you have the choice of either playing a card from your hand or doing an action on the table. If you can do either of those things, then you have to do it. So sometimes that can mess with plans and tactics, but that's all part of the fun of the game. There is an optional action of swapping cards. So if you have a few cards in your hand, you can swap 2 for 1. And you can do that as many multiples of 2 in that one turn. So if I had 4 cards, I could put those down and get 2 back in return, and that would be my go over. That one isn't a mandatory action, but can be helpful if maybe you don't want to be doing an action that you would be forced to otherwise. When you play Water's Edge, you're working with different fish capacities for different places. So these are illustrated on the cards. If you look closely, I'll see if you can spot those. On the boats can take up to 2 fish. Your ice house can take up to 5 fish. And your buildings can also take up to 5 fish. This is important when you are moving the fish around the board. Some capacities might limit you in what you can do. For example, your boat needs to be a full catch of fish before you can bring it into the ice house. So if I had 2 fish on my boat, I could then choose to move that to the ice house. If I had more boats and they also had 2 fish on and were full, I could move as many full catches into the ice house as long as the ice house had enough room for them. To do that, that would be a turn. So you've drawn your card and then you would move your fish into the ice house. Water's Edge plays across the week, both during the day and at night time. So in the daytime, you can pretty much do anything apart from playing your moonfish. And these are fish that can only be played in the night time. So all those details on there indicate the night time. Other things at night time, they require a source of light. This can be either from a lighthouse, which has a top on it. The top can even be placed straight onto the base card to make a mini lighthouse. This gives you a source of light to continue play as normal. So if you have light, you can continue to play the day fish at night because the fishermen can see what they're doing. You can choose to take the catch in when there's a source of light. The source of light pretty much makes nighttime the same as daytime. If you don't have a top for the lighthouse, the other source of light is a full moon card. And this is played during the night phase. And you just place it down as a free action card in front of you. It only affects your Water's Edge. Other people can't benefit from this during this time. So the full moon card gets played, and then you could choose to play another fish. Now full moon stays until it becomes daytime again, so if you've played that during night phase 1, you can also use it during night phase 2, which is very handy because if you've just filled your boat, you could then move the fish to the ice house because they can see what they're doing. If you don't have a source of light, there are still lots of actions that you can do. Think about it as on the sea and on the land sort of differentiation. So anything that's on the land, you can move your fish into the town, you can build on your lighthouse, you can build your town. Those are the sort of actions that you can do during the night time. Action cards such as the cheeky seagull, you can use those at any time as well. If you're not sure about these, the rules do give you this in all the blue sections. It tells you whether you can use them at night, or if not, then or what the conditions are for those cards. Right, so I think I will go through the different cards that might come up during your game, just to give you a quick overview of what to expect, and hopefully that will help you in the gameplay, but the rulebook is always there to refer to if you're not quite sure what card does what. So as you know, we've got the base cards, this Ice House, Lighthouse base, and your base boat. These are always safe. The base boat can't get destroyed by anything like the whale or the storm, so he's always safe, he'll always be yours, and he's differentiated by the colour that you've chosen. The boats in the pack, they are all red. So any red boats, they are subject to being destroyed by the whale or the storm. So when you play an extra boat in your town, you just add them onto into your sea area. You can have as many boats as you want. If you get a net card, so this expands the boat's capacity and can hold 3 extra fish. So this means your entire boat can take 5 fish altogether. This can be really handy, but also means you have to have 5 fish in there before you can move it to the lighthouse. So sometimes that can throw things if you're struggling to get fish or to fill the full boat. But the net just gets placed on the boat and joins up with the sea like that. So forms a nice wavy net flying out behind the boat. For your fish, we have 3 different types of fish. One is the moonfish, and this one can only be played at night. It doesn't need a light source, it just needs to be night phase, and that just gets placed onto your boat like that. The other fish, we have 2 different designs here. They both do the exact same. They are just your everyday fish and can be caught during the daytime or at night if you have a light source. And they would just get placed onto your boats as well. If you have more than 1 boat and 2 fish, you can place 1 fish per boat, which is quite handy when you have a fleet, and you can sometimes get 3 or 4 fish down in one go, as long as there's 1 fish per boat. Your lighthouse, these pieces are very obvious, bright red and white, and they have middle pieces and your top piece. So when you are playing a card from your hand, if you have a lighthouse card, you would just place it on top of the base card. The lighthouse pieces, they're worth 2 points each, and the top is worth 5, and also gives you that light source that you need, or might not need, depending on your tactics of the game. So your lighthouse can be as tall or as small as you want. The top card can go straight on the base card, or it can go all the way across. It might even reach someone else's water's edge. There's no bonus points for that. So on the lighthouse, they just get matched up and form a very pretty lighthouse illustration. There's something nice about lighthouses. In your town then, or building your town, you have various buildings that will come up. As you draw the cards, these will enter your hands, and then your action would be to play a building. So we have the Water's Edge Chippy. This one has loads of details and is by far my favourite card. Although I don't know, they all start to be your favourite cards. But this one, especially with the wee cat and his eating fish, and then the seagulls looking longingly into the chippy. There's even a seagull up on the sign too. So lots of little details. You see the fisherman above the door. Lots of little details. So that's one of our buildings there. So we just place it into the town. The next one here is the restaurant, and again lots of little detail going on there. I quite like the little topiary bushes hanging from the side, and all the planters outside. It looks a little French, but yeah, there we go, there's our restaurant, so that will go there. Now this is a close favourite to the Water's Edge Chippy if I am choosing favourites. This is a fishmonger, and it's catch of the week. So this is full of fish, lots of detail in the window, your wee birds flying as well, and street lamps and that sort of thing. So that one will join, and the best thing about buildings, you can see the pavement along the bottom, so that gives you an idea that it's a base building, because we do actually have some apartments as well. So these are forming then flats and living spaces above all your restaurants. We've also got our fish inn, So this is the hotel building. Slightly different in colour, he's green, and that also gives you an idea of which card goes with which. So this is the top part of your hotel building, and you can see it doesn't quite match the edges of these, so you can see which ones are supposed to go with which. So it's likewise, if I take the Water's Edge Chippy, you can see the top part will match that one, but the top of the hotel clearly does not line up correctly. So that's a little extra on the buildings in terms of, depending on which tops you have, will depend on which buildings they can go on, and that might throw you. It might be handy, and you can have as many as you want on top. So you could have 2 or 3 apartment blocks up, or you can have a multi-story hotel. There's no limit on that, as long as they go onto the right buildings. So that's how the town sort of builds up. We've then got action cards, which affect your play or affect others' play, and throw loopholes into the game to keep it varied and different every time you play a game. So the full moon card, this is the one that provides you with light for the night phase if your lighthouse isn't built yet. So that just gets played there temporarily, and then it would disappear again after the end of the night phase. Here we have the Helping Hands card. This actually features on the front of the box, if you see, there we go, and just gets played above the ice house. So the idea behind this card is that it's the workers of the ice house. It's providing an extra pair of hands, which means you can up the fish capacity as well. So with the Helping Hands card, your ice house can then hold 2 extra fish, bringing it up to 7. There's no limit on Helping Hands, so you can have more than 1 card played there. So if you had 2, that would be 5 fish in the ice house, plus 2, giving you 9 fish that can hold. The other good thing about the Helping Hands is it actually protects you against one of the instant action cards. So when you draw the horrible, stinky, rotten fish, this card is played immediately, and unfortunately takes out all the fish in your ice house, because they all become infected and they all have to get cleared to the discard pile, unless you have a Helping Hand card. So the Helping Hand card then gets rid of the rotten fish quickly. The Helping Hand card and the rotten fish go into the discard pile, and you take out any extra fish that you might have had as a result of the Helping Hand, so that it's back to the fish capacity there. So if I had, say, 7 fish in there, I had, with the Helping Hand, the rotten fish comes along, it takes the Helping Hand out, and I would have to get rid of 2 fish to make it back down to the 5 that the ice house can hold. The other instant action card is the Storm. And this is detrimental to one of your boats. If you have only your base boat, it will strip everything off your base boat into the discard pile, and unfortunately that's your turn ended. With the Rotten Fish card, you get to play again, which is nice. At least there's some rewarding feature there, or hope. There's hope there. Whereas the Storm, that completely wipes out one of your boats. If you've got more than 1 boat, it would always wipe out one of the extra boats. You get to choose which one. But if there's just your base boat and your red boat, it has to be the red boat. And it takes everything, including the boat, unfortunately. Sorry. So that's your Storm card. But if you happen to have the Storm Saver, this is a card that can be played directly from your hands, and it will save your boat and put the Storm into the discard pile. You still end your turn there because you have to still recover from the Storm. But the Storm Saver card, you can also choose to play that into your town as one of your goes. So if you wanted, you could place that down, and then should you encounter a storm, this takes it out completely, and because it's not coming from your hand, it's not like an action, so you can take your turn again. Right, other action cards that come up are then, we've got the Depths of Sea, which is beneficial for you. You can search through the discard pile and choose one of the cards to play. and that card gets played immediately. So it can be an action card, it can be a building, it could be a fish, it could be the top of a lighthouse. You play that card immediately, and then this one, the Depths of Sea, gets discarded. The other couple of action cards are those that affect other players. So you can play to interact and combat other people's towns. So we've got the Cheeky Seagull, one of my other favourites. Told you I love them all. So the Cheeky Seagull gets played from your hand, and it swoops down and steals a fish from somebody else's boat, and if you have space in your boat, it will drop the fish back in your boat for you and then discard the seagull card. If you don't have any fish space in your boats, not to worry, the seagull still hangs onto the fish and they both go into the discard pile. The other one to be wary of from other people is the whale, and the whale is similar to the storm, but you choose who you are affecting. So the whale swims over and knocks the other player's boat, and the boat stays, but everything on it gets knocked off. So any fish, any nets, it could be handy for those trying to collect 5 fish and who are nearly there. You can knock that fish off, knock the net off, and it just strips it back down to the boat, because the whale is so massive, he knocks everything off in his little bump of the boat. That's the idea behind that card anyway. If that player happens to have the plankton card, they can negate that action, and the plankton and the whale gets discarded. The player who played the whale, that's their turn ended, and it just moves on. That doesn't count as it's just a negating card. It's not an action from that player, it's just saving them. So I would say that's all the cards at the moment until the expansion packs come out. There will be 3 or 4, maybe even 5 action packs planned, including a possible expansion for 5 to 6 players as well. I know a few people had suggested that. So for larger families, obviously I grew up with a family of 5, so it's always frustrating when there's a game of 4 and you had to team up with one person. So hopefully we'll have a 5 to 6 expansion pack, maybe a pirate pack. With the Kickstarter edition, we actually had some extra cards come out, and some of these will feature as one of the cards in the coming expansion pack. So for example, there is a pirate boat in existence. I won't explain too much yet, but he's a good card. We've got extra fish. I'm hoping there'll be a kind of general expansion pack as well. The sushi bar is yet another one of my favourites, so that might feature in one of them as well. We have other things like the hourglass card, and even the fishing octopus as well. So there's a few different plans in mind. Again, I won't reveal it all, just keep an eye on my social media pages. You can find me Catherine Redgate Artist or Catherine Redgate Art on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll link it at the bottom of the video too. So yeah, keep watch for the next Kickstarter launch of this project. But hopefully this video has been helpful for you in terms of getting a feel for the game, working out how to play it, and now the rules will actually make sense when you read them. Not that they didn't make sense before, but I know it's sometimes easier to watch what's happening and be talked through it as well. Happy to answer any questions, and you can buy a copy of Water's Edge direct from me on my Etsy page. I again will link that too. But yes, please do give it a shot. It's great fun. We've had so many good feedback comments and people saying that their wife never even played games before, and now she's like stolen all the artwork. So hopefully whoever said that is listening, because that was just a lovely comment to have. And yeah, I will stop babbling now and let you go and explore Water's Edge for yourself. I look forward to hearing from you, how you get on. Any questions, just give me a shout. Thank you. Unpack the game to reveal a beautiful set of cards illustrated by myself, a Scottish artist. Complete with a full colour manual, a quick play guide and a deck of awesome cards, your Kickstarter edition also includes 3 bonus cards which add to your gameplay. During the game, you spend a week in Water's Edge catching fish, preserving them in the ice house and selling them to the townsfolk. The game is played over a series of days where one day consists of 6 rounds, 4 daytime and 2 nighttime. Drawing a card, players will either play a card from their hand, preserve fish, or sell fish. The boats, buildings and icehouse all have different fish capacities, which brings the need for tactical gameplay as players decide how best to manage their town. Certain actions are restricted or changed depending on the time of day, so make sure to plan ahead as you enter nighttime. You'll find the possibilities expand as the week goes on, but make sure to keep watch for those disastrous storms, clumsy whales and cheeky seagulls. Fun for all the family, the game packs away into a neat little box until the next time you venture to Water's Edge.